thank you all for coming. I know some of you came from Cárdenas, so thank you for coming from Cárdenas as well. So again, we just want you to know that we take early childhood education very seriously. We have teachers from Loma Park, Stafford, Cárdenas, and Burleson who are there every single day teaching your kids as much as possible, and the only way we can do that is if you have your kids here. And just by you being here also shows the importance that you have on the education of your kids. So we are going to have two different speakers today. The first one is going to be Dr. Jose Cervantes, and he is the superintendent of the school. And I do want to make sure to thank him because he was very supportive of this event. So he's going to be talking to you briefly also about the importance of the early childhood education program here in Edgewood. And also after that, I will introduce Dr. Patsy Torres, who will also be talking to you about that as well. So again, thank you so much for coming. And I now introduce Dr. Cervantes.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Well, I hope you don't mind if I get down here and talk to y'all. It's a little bit better, I think. It's a little bit more informal. Le quiero dar las gracias que vinieron a hoy por estar aquí y ayudar a los niños. As you know, it all starts when they're born. But you know, there's also research that shows that it all starts when they're when the child's in your womb and you play the music and you play Mozart and everything. There's been studies that show that helps. But not only that, but once they take the first breath, they realize, and you realize, that that's the best thing that has ever happened to you. You know that your child, su hijo o hija, is going to do something bigger and better. Todos nosotros, si queremos que los niños que hagan mejor que nosotros hacemos. Y le quiero dar las gracias a ustedes. I want to thank the parents for working with us and helping your child succeed. By you being here and by you working with them and telling them the importance of school, the importance of reading. The number one component is reading. If they see you reading a book or a magazine or a newspaper, they want to be just like you. They want to imitate you. I saw the sister of Miss Benavidez, and she's right there, and as I was walking in, I saw the same mannerisms. Las mismas mañas que tiene la señora, la directora Benavidez. I saw that. As kids, they imitate you. They imitate the things that you're doing. If you're reading, they're going to read. If you're talking loud, they're going to want to talk loud. If you're working on a car, they're going to get underneath the car to work with you. Those are beautiful things. But the most important thing is, number one, is the support that you give our kids, that you give your child. The support that you give the district, the school. As long as the school and the parents are working together, everything's going to be great. But the moment that the school and the parents aren't working together, the student, your child is going to realize, hey, there's something wrong here. And they're not going to do very well. So you need to make sure that that's combined together. Head Start, I'm a great proponent for Head Start. As you know, the students and the research, and we did this research here in Edgewood. We compared the students that went to pre-K and the students that did not go to pre-K and K, the students that just came to us as first grade. Pre-K students outdid your first grade students. Then we followed that. We said, what about the kindergartners? The ones that came in kinder outperformed the first graders too. The research says the sooner we get them, the sooner you let us work with your child, the more successful they're going to be. So pre-K is very vital, and kindergarten is as important too. I know a lot of times it's hard for us to let go of the little ones. Oh man, he's too young. No, mijo, te quedas aquí con tu mamá un año más, o aquí con su abuelita. Y la abuelita también le dice, no, te estamos joven para que vaya para la escuela. It might be, but let me tell you, once he's in school, they do great. Your child has an advantage over the ones that don't. Let me tell you, the school districts around here, north side, northeast, southwest, all those schools only provide half-day programs. Just half-day. Mitad del día que no más. But we provide a full day because we believe that we need to provide a full day because we want to make sure your child is successful so that you're successful with them, so that when they cross the graduation, high school, college, and post-college, you say, wow, he outdid me, because that's all that we want is for our child to do better than what we did. So I thank you for doing that. Second thing is, don't underestimate your child. Don't think that your child cannot do something. Saturday I was at a chess tournament that we put on. We have kindergartners playing chess. How many of us know how to play chess? Raise your hand. I don't. I mean, well, I did it one time, but I forgot all about it. And it is very difficult. But for kindergartners to be playing that, and not only are they playing against their own grade level, they're playing with other kids that are first and second because we rank them by the ability that they have. We're not going to hold them back. And we had some kindergartners that were going against first graders and second graders in chess. So that's how, and a lot of times you think, no, they can't learn this, or no, this is too difficult for them. You just let it go, and they'll go. They'll surprise you. As a matter of fact, my kids surprise me all the time. They'll throw a word out there that I haven't heard of. Whoa, where did you learn that from? It's a good word. It's not a bad word or anything. But those two things I ask of you. I always tell our students, if they do this in this order, these 5 things, there's a 98% chance that they'll never be poor. 98% chance that they'll never be poor. 1, finish high school. 2, finish college. 3, get a job. Wait about 5 years working before you do number 4. Number 4 is you get married. Wait another 5 years before you do the number 5 thing. That is, have kids. 98% chance that they'll never be poor. There's research to back that up. If you want 99% chance, don't have kids. If you want a 100% chance to never ever be poor, don't get married. So if you do those 5 things and you instill and you talk to them as they grow up to do these 5 things, remind them when they're in elementary, remind them when they're in junior high, and especially remind them when they're in high school. If they do those 5 things, 98% chance that everything. But we want the best, just like you want the best for your child, I want the best for your child too. They're someone special, and I know that. And we're going to treat them special, and we want for them to succeed. It all starts with you, and I thank you for being here. Te doy las gracias que están aquí hoy. And if you want for me to translate later, just catch me over there, and I'll tell you in Spanish what I said. My Spanish is not very good, even though my mom gets mad at me. Se me enoja mi mamá porque mi español no está tan perfecto, yo creo, así como me dice. My parents are from Mexico. They came over here because my dad wanted the life to where we all went to college. So he went to a small town where there was a university. There was 7 de nosotros. Mi papá, mi mamá son 9. And they wanted us to get an education. So they moved to a place called Alpine, Texas. There's Sorrel State University. My dad's dream, el sueño que todos tenemos, was for our kids to finish college. All 7 of us went to that college and we all finished. All 7 went through there and got a master's. But that's the dream that he had and that we had. You have a dream for your child, and that child's going to have that dream too. If you stick to your dream and you follow that dream and you stay on them on that dream, and you don't give them an option. There's no option that they're not going to go to college. They are going to go to college. That's the way my dad said it. And boy, he would check my grades y se me enojaba, hijos. Se me enojaba y me regañaba pero me empujó y fui. Don't give up on your child. You stay on them, you stay on them. It's beautiful. It's beautiful being parents because we were, at one time, we were in their shoes. And your mom and your dad, I'm sure they remind you, son lo mismo como tú. Just like you, te la estás pagando hoy. And there's some truth to that, so we won't deny that. But stick to that, stick to the dream that you have for your child and make sure you develop. But work on those 5 things. If you need for me to repeat those 5 things, I'll be more than glad to repeat them so that you can repeat them to your child. Thank you for coming. And before I get off here, let me thank Ms. Benavidez. Great job in putting this together. Let's give her a round of applause. You truly have a principal that really, really cares. Right before the event started, I was looking for her to see where she was at. She was on the phone talking to a parent and working with a parent. That's how dedicated she is to the parent. So thank you, and that says volumes. Let me turn this over to Ms. Benavidez so that we can get a great speaker up here. Not me, but our next presenter. She's great. She's awesome. I've heard her before. Thank you.
Okay, well now I'm not going to be on the stage because Dr. Cervantes has made me feel a little bit more comfortable, so I'm going to be right here. I won't be as funny and charming as him, but I'll try my very best. Again, our theme is Achieving Starts with Believing because we believe in your kids. All of the staff at Edgewood, and I speak more so for early childhood, we believe in your kids and we want them to achieve. That's why if you look at the poster, we have students in cap and gown, and one of them, we have a green gown for Kennedy, a blue gown for Memorial. I went to Edgewood, so I always believe in Edgewood Red Raiders, go Red Raiders. And then 2 for when they go to college. So that's why we strongly believe in their early childhood program, and we know that your kids, we believe in them, and that's why we want them to achieve. So here, now what we're going to do is we're going to introduce Dr. Patsy Torres, and I do want to let you know she has a very impressive resume, and because I talked to her on Friday, she's also just a wonderful person in general. So she has a bachelor's degree in psychology from Incarnate Word. She also has a master's degree with distinction from, again, from the University of Incarnate Word, and she also has a PhD in organizational leadership and education. And along that, she's a fantastic speaker and a fantastic singer. So we are very happy and proud to have her here. So now I'm going to proudly introduce Dr. Patsy Torres.
Thank you, Lilly. And welcome parents and grandparents, teachers, friends, everyone that supports our children. I'm excited to be here. When I think of children and their potential, I believe the children are few. us of how we used to be. Can you remember when you were between 3 and 5? I know it's not easy, but you might think of some of those things that happened to you that you still remember now, that even affected you now. I can remember a lot of things that happened between 3 and 5. And what makes me excited too is because I know that your children can be anything they want. They have the potential. And I'm excited because you are here. And I know that you share the same hopes and dreams as I do for your children. You want them to be safe and happy and successful. So what do we have to do? I want to know, do you believe in your children? Do you believe in your children? Well, good, because achieving starts with believing. That's why we are all here. But there is one more factor. The key to success is education. But what do you think right now is the most important part for your child? What do you think it is? It's you. You are the most important part for your child's welfare and future. Because every decision you make and every action you take will affect your children all the way till their adulthood. You have to be involved. You have to encourage them. You have to make sure that they get an education to make the difference. Everything that Dr. Cervantes mentioned about the research, everything is true what he said. But it starts with you. A child's brain grows the fastest between 1 and 5. And you know that. If you got children in that age group, you see them on those computers. You see them on the iPhones and the iPads. Oh, they learn so fast. This is the time we have to grab them and let those minds expand so that they can be the best that they can be. And like he said, we always want them to do even better than us. And in today's world, it's a world that's gone global. Everybody can dream. If your child says, you know what, I'd like to get a job in Japan someday. Hey, that can happen. And why can't it happen for you too? Because as parents, you have to set an example for them. Because if you want to lead, you have to read. One of the most important things you can do for your children is read to them. In fact, the American Academy of Pediatrics says you should start reading to your kids even before they're 6 months old. It'll make a difference. And you can have fun with them. You can read stories and you can laugh with them and you can cry with them and you can learn new things. And if you have older children, you can get them involved. In fact, that's kind of how I grew up. So I understand everything that they were talking about. And I'll share that with you. See, because first of all, I want to find out, are any parents out here just an only child? Any parents an only child? You are. How many were two? 2 of you in the family? 2? 3? 3 in your family? How many had 4 in your family? 5 in your family? More than 5 in your family? Mr. Cervantes, of course. Well, I also want to know, how many of you went to preschool? 1, 2, 3. You went to preschool. Okay. I didn't get to go to preschool. I was the oldest of 5 children. But the difference was, my mother was very involved with us. She used to read to me and my little sister. And she would tell us stories and she would sing to us. And she would show us all kinds of imagination. So for me, growing up like that was great. Until things finally changed. Because my little brother came along. And my mother got very sick, to where she was in bed all the time, and they sent me off to live with my grandparents to give her a break. Well, at least I was with my grandparents. I got some more attention with them about counting and learning Spanish. But my little sister that was left home with my mom didn't get to have that much attention anymore because my mother was so sick, and then when the baby was born, she was more sick. I ended up staying with my grandparents and going to first grade. And I have to tell you, even though my mother prepared me in many ways, which did help me, when I got to first grade, I was scared. I had to sit in a desk for hours. I wasn't used to that. And I wasn't used to being around so many little kids. I wasn't sure how to act. In fact, after 2 weeks, I would get into a fight every day in recess. Every single day. And I would get in trouble. And I would go home and get in trouble with my grandmother, and then she would tell my father, and I would get in trouble, but I still got in fights every day. Now maybe if I had gone to preschool and understand how to work with other kids and understand about sitting and being quiet, so it was kind of hard for me in first grade. But by the time I got to second grade, I was getting the hang of it. I was getting better. And I started making better grades. My grandparents supported me also. They wanted me to be the best that I could be. In fact, my grandfather used to call me Chiquitita. He was one of those grandfathers that spoil you. Do we have any grandparents here today? Oh, welcome, welcome. Grandparents are so important. How many of you have grandparents helping with the children? Any grandparents? Yes, everybody, right? We need them. Well, you know what? I want to send this out to you, to our grandparents, because they meant a lot to me. And my grandfather, who called me Chiquitita, and who, when I was 5 years old, inspired me to want to be a doctor, because he was a doctor. My grandfather, Dr. Torres, which I did end up becoming a doctor, thanks to him. So this was a song that I want to send to you on behalf of the grandparents, my grandfather, and for all our little girls out there that we want to call Chiquititas. It goes like this. Chiquitita tiene morder, tu dolor en tus ojos hay una sombra de gran pena. Quisiera verte así, aunque quieras disimularlo. Si es que tan triste estás, ¿para qué quieres callarlo? Chiquitita, sabes muy bien que las penas vienen y van y desaparecen. Otra vez vas a bailar y serás feliz como flores que florecen. Chiquitita, no hay que llorar. Las estrellas brillan por ti hacia lo alto. Quiero verte sonreír para compartir tu alegría, chiquitita. Otra vez quiero compartir tu alegría, chiquitita. Otra vez quiero compartir tu alegría, chiquitita. Por todas las chiquititas. Well, gracias. Well, you know, they say that research says that being in preschool is better, but they also says that if you work with your children, read to them, teach them, that it does make a big difference also. So I told you that I was able to adjust. That wasn't the same for my sister, who was only a year and a half younger than me. And don't get me wrong, she was very smart, but she started in school different than I because she didn't get the attention that I got. She didn't go to preschool. When she went to first grade, she was traumatized. She was scared to death. First day of school, they were sitting there. They told them pull out their little tablets, and the teacher said, write me a big I. Well, she didn't realize it was a letter, so she drew a big I with eyelashes. So pretty. She was so happy and so proud because she did the best I. When the teacher came and saw it, oh, she yelled at her. She thought she was trying to be smart, made all the kids laugh. My little sister jumped out of her seat, ran down the hall, and disappeared. They called my parents. They couldn't find her. They finally found her hiding in a locker in the hall. She did not want to go back. They finally got her to go back, but she hated it so much, they moved her to another school. So then we went to different schools. She got into fights all the time too. She never did like school after that. And I'm talking about elementary school, middle school, high school. It just traumatized her so much as a little child that she never liked school after that. And she always thought that she was dumb because I was making all these good grades and she couldn't make the grades because, of course, she didn't want to sit in class and listen to the teacher. She got so angry she didn't want to study, so it did make a difference.